Hey, friends. Preferably the ones who aren't standing behind me or in front of me. But if anyone is watching, which I would highly doubt, you're very welcome for being up at 8 in the morning. All for the cause. But we are here outside of Ooh, Fresh Fire Worship Center in Olean, New York. If you want to join us, we're directly across the road from Fresh Fire on the sidewalk, and we are participating in a stand in for love today because there is a pretty common misconception at the moment that it's okay to be a Christian and say that you hate or despise or otherwise disavow certain groups of people. And I, as a person who was raised in the Christian church, who is currently working on their master's in religious studies and going towards their PhD in theology, myself as a person that came up from Christendom, experienced the negative sides of it, and then came back around to get their crazy drunk grandpa, I can say with all assuredness that God's love is in fact non-binary, that God absolutely loves as they are with no change LGBTQ individuals, people with mental health issues, people who are of different faiths, especially including Muslims, because that's a group that is currently targeted in our society. So I can tell you, based on my own personal experience inside and outside of Christendom, and now coming back around, and having dedicated my entire life to the study of this faith, for better or for worse, God's love is in fact non-binary, and so we are standing up and standing in for that today. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys just watch the protest for a little bit, and then in a few minutes, my co-conspirator and I are just going to lead a brief interfaith um, service, right? It's on a sidewalk and there's no smells and bells. So I don't know if I can call it like an official like mass or liturgy or something, whatever your tradition is. But my co-conspirator Brian is going to offer up interfaith prayer, and then I am going to just deliver a little bit of a I guess sermon. I guess I'm allowed to call it a sermon now, right? Usually I just say talk, but so yeah. Once again, I'm here at Fresh Fire Worship Center in Olean, New York. If you would like to come out, we are here, obviously, with our Tim Hortons, sharing the Cricket store for reference if you need us. We are directly across the road. We're very rainbowy and very happy and very not going to hell or demon possessed. So feel free. Feel free to join if you will. That's that. So I'm going to let you guys just kind of watch the sights and sounds for a minute, and then we'll be back in a few minutes to have just like a brief little, maybe moment of meditation, interfaith stand really for each other and for love. So that's what we're doing. Sweet. I'm going to stop talking now and drink my coffee for a minute. Also, guys, I couldn't sleep last night, so I watched progressive TikTok, or also known as heretic TikTok, and I also made this cheeky little sign that says God's love is non-binary. Thank, thank God I can cut hair better than I can write letters, because otherwise I wouldn't have a business. But feel free to join us if you'd like to stand up for the fact that if you do believe in a God, if you do believe in divinity, if you do believe in a higher power, that divinity and that God and that higher power must absolutely be all inclusive and non-binary. Right. Don't everybody get quiet now. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I should. Yay! Yes, flags. We love flags. We love flags and fags. I hope my video doesn't get taken down for that. Justice, you are absolutely right. Thank you for the support, people who are honking. Sorry I dropped the microphone. I apologize if I blew anybody's ears out. Also, to be fair and to accurately report things that are happening, there was a group of people from Fresh Fire who did come out and bring us coffee and water and said they loved us. So I'm going to let you guys roll with that. And I just wanted to be fair and let you know that they did say that. They're not out here like speaking in tongues against us or anything. However, we're still here and there's still a need to be here. So I'll fill you in on that one later. I just made my sign a little bit of a dual purpose sign. A reminder that God's love is non-binary. And also a reminder that we need to actively work to end police brutality because it's real, especially if you're not a cis straight white male. Thank you for your support. It's a dual purpose protest. Double time. If I could energetically. Thank you. Thank you for your support. I have a microphone. I was going to introduce you. This is my friend and ordained Christian minister. That's right, a whole denomination signed off on him being ordained.
Crazy people.
Can't get one for me yet, but good on you. This is my friend Brian, who moved back to Olean just to start some good trouble, and I'm very excited to have him as a co-collaborator, especially since both of us started out literally not being pastors. We were newspaper reporters. But so Brian is one of the good ones, friends, and he's going to lead us in a moment of silent meditation and an interfaith prayer, and then I'm going to just deliver a tiny little homily. You can be assured that when I say that, it's going to be longer than I think, but hopefully shorter than you wish. So, but I'm going to share a couple little thoughts after Brian leads us in a moment of just interfaith meditation and prayer. So here we go. You can clip it on your shirt shot. Thank you for your support.
All right, thanks, Leo. Hi, everybody. Hello, everybody. Just ask if we can all kind of gather together in a moment of solidarity with one another. I know we represent a lot of different faiths or no faiths or spirituality, so I just want to say a few words, and so if we could just be silent for a moment. Gracious Spirit, gracious love, we thank you for this outpouring of support that we are experiencing here right now within this group and those who are driving by. Gracious God, we know that your love is non-binary. We know that your love extends to each and every person. So we thank you for the ways in which you have loved every one of us as we are. Great love, we're here today to stand in solidarity around that love and in front of a church that wants to claim they understand your love as being exclusive to the LGBT community, to those who are of different faiths. Particularly, they have called out Muslims. They want to exclude people who are of a different political affiliation. The Democrats are evil. They want to exclude or cast out demons from people who are experiencing mental health issues. In great love, we know that you are there for each and every person that they include and that they exclude. Gracious God, I want to stand in prayer today and pray for Fresh Fire and for those people who are worshiping there today, that they would come to know the all-embracing, all-encompassing love that you have for all people, and that their hearts would be changed, that they would go out into this world knowing that everyone they see is a manifestation of your great love. Gracious God, I want to thank you for everybody here. And we pray that your love will shine through us. Amen.
Thank you, friend. How many thousands of dollars did you pay to find all those fancy words? We don't want to talk about it, right? Too much money. All right. So, for those of you who don't know me, it's kind of funny because, one time I was a girl. So, start off with a bang right there. But in my previous life, I actually grew up in conservative evangelicalism. My father is a pastor. My grandfather was a deacon. My family are missionaries in Africa. problematic, I know. We'll talk about that in another video. But this is the world that I come from. Actually, when I was maybe 12, 13, 14, 15, throughout those years, I used to lead worship on that stage before Fresh Fire even existed. I used to preach and lead worship there as a teenager. That was my church for a while. Back in the day, a couple sex scandals later, here we are, it's Fresh Fire now. But that used to be my church. And consequently, these are my people, right? Christianity, whether or not I like it, is my background. Some days I don't like it and some days I do, but someone has to be responsible for making it better and stopping the damage. And so that's why I'm here. I actually have a Bachelor's of Science in Pastoral Ministry. I studied conservative evangelical theology enough that they gave me a degree somehow in science, because I'm still confused about that, but it met some Department of Education requirement. But I also am currently studying for my Master's of Arts in Interreligious Studies, with a concentration in interreligious studies, with an aspiration to obtain a PhD in queer theology. And that informs everything I do. And when I say queer theology, I don't mean like gay shit, right? Queer theology is not just about being gay. But the term queer, which used to be a slur and we're totally reclaiming, so come at me now, TikTok. But the term queer actually just means working towards the dissolution of binaries. And that's why I chose to make a sign, well, the first sign I made today, but I chose to make a sign that says God's love is non-binary. Because if you take seriously any of the claims in any of the Abrahamic traditions, God's love is non-binary. There is not a single Bible verse that allows you to vilify Muslims. There is not a single Bible verse that supports the anti-Semitism that is laced in most conservative evangelical theology. And moreover, there's not a single Bible verse that actually condemns consensual same-sex relationships. And these are things which the American evangelical churches founded themselves on today. And I'm saying this because they're my people and someone has to come get them when they've lost the plot. So, I really wanted to do some due diligence to talk from an interfaith perspective today, and that's actually currently what my whole semester is geared on, so like I am steeped in interfaith conversation right now. I am here and I am queer. That is like my thing. It's like my thing. Actually, I tattooed the word queer on my hand, and I sometimes joke that it's so they can identify my body. I don't know. I don't know if it was a good decision or not to tattoo queer on my hand the first day I had a tattoo machine. But I wanted to speak from an interfaith perspective today. And so I talked to a rabbi and an imam and a progressive Christian pastor who is a good friend of mine and happens to be an internet celebrity at the moment. And I did some research. And I actually found out some interesting facts when we want to talk about interfaith things, right? So, in the Torah, it actually says 36 times. The Torah, for those of you who don't know, are the holy texts of Judaism. They are similar to the Old Testament, but they are not exactly the same. They're ordered differently, translated differently, broken up differently. But in the Torah, it says 36 times, that's a 3-6, to love others as you love yourselves. It goes further to state, we see some references here. We got like Deuteronomy 10:17. That's a good one. It talks about how there's no particularity in the Lord. And you're supposed to love the foreigner and the other as yourself, because there's no division in God. Period. Right? So that's from the Torah. And when we go to the Quran, in chapter 7, verse 156, it talks about how Allah's love is all-encompassing. Allah's mercy is all-encompassing. There's none that is excluded. Right? And when we talk about Christianity, that idea is also echoed. Right? So essentially, in Ephesians 2:14, it says, for he is our peace, and in the flesh he has made both groups into one. He has broken down the dividing wall so there's to be no hostility between us. That's in the Bible. You should look it up. I did. TikTok doesn't think I read the Bible, so that's for you, TikTok. So it says in all Abrahamic traditions that like we are one. That's a thing. There's to be no dividing line. And the funny thing is, like, a lot of evangelicals will just talk about the life of Christ, right? Life of Jesus. And even if you don't believe in the divinity of Jesus, we can talk about historical Jesus or the concept of historical Jesus, right? The thing, it was Jesus' shtick to include the religious and cultural other. That's literally what Jesus' entire ministry was. So if you're going to go to a church that proclaims to be a Jesus-centered church, then you must actually espouse to the ideals of Jesus. which includes validating, loving, including, and supporting the religious and cultural other. It is a dangerous line to cross when you wield religious ideas as something that you can control. It's a dangerous line to cross when you wield religious ideas in general. Because if you're not self-reflective, every religious idea is dangerous. You cannot actively exclude people from the kingdom of God and be serving God on any level. That's my religious shtick, right? When we talk about the videos that have been coming out of Fresh Fire lately, we are hearing very specific and repetitive statements that are harmful and destructive to our community. That would be one thing if they weren't sent out into the world. And it'd be one thing if they weren't literally and intentionally put into the heads of our students and our school systems from principals and school psychiatrists. It is absolutely not wrong to be Muslim. It is absolutely not wrong to be gay. It's absolutely not wrong to be Democrat, although I'm not sure why we're talking about, because there was no Democrats or Republicans in the Bible, or the Quran, or the Torah. Wild, right? It is not wrong to be any of those things, and furthermore, having a mental health issue is akin to having diabetes or asthma. Diabetes or asthma that can kill you, but it is a chemical issue. It is absolutely harmful and flawed to walk around professing that people who are different or other are possessed by demons. It is an appropriation of an ancient text for a modern agenda, and it's unacceptable. So the reason that we're here today is not necessarily because we all believe the same things. It's not necessarily because we all have the same theology, but we're here because we know that's wrong, right? That theology is harmful, that theology is dangerous, and ultimately what happens when you have bad theology is it ends up causing death. LGBTQ teens have the highest rate of suicide. Black trans women are the most likely people to be murdered. And the amount of Islamophobia that is perpetuated by the American government and by American evangelicalism leads to massive amounts of violence against our Muslim brothers and sisters, because we're all part of the same family. It is unacceptable to use positions of power in a public forum to propagate theology on any level, but it is absolutely immoral and unacceptable, and furthermore illegal, to propagate bad theology and hate speech from a pulpit and a principal and a school psychologist's office. I do not care if your straight children become gay or Muslim or whatever. That's not our agenda. Our agenda is just that our gay children and our Muslim brothers and sisters do not end up dead at the end of a gun that's called American evangelical theology. So we're here as an interfaith group, perhaps as a no-faith group who just has some common sense, right? I don't pretend to know everybody's leanings here, but we're here because we all know one thing, and that is that any sort of divinity is going to be non-binary. Any support or any form of divinity or overarching meta-narrative of some sort of spiritual existence is going to validate, support, and uplift everyone with no exceptions. Period. If you believe in Jesus, that was Jesus' whole shtick. The Samaritan woman, the Syrophoenician woman, also known as Canaanite, these were religious others that Jesus said, good job. Dope. Right? That's a thing. I'm speaking from my tradition because I can only speak with authority from that. But Christianity is not that. It's not that type of theology, and bad theology does have ramifications. Furthermore, there is no place for that in our school systems. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for engaging. I know that there are so many of you who could not be here today, but we feel and appreciate your love and support. If you'd like to take a stand against the specific agenda of infiltration into the Olean City School Districts and into the Cuba Rushford City School Districts. If you would like to take a stand against that, I would encourage you to look for ways to join a protest, to write a letter, to sign a petition, to show up at a meeting, or to contact licensing and government agencies. Heck, contact the IRS. Thank you for your support. It is absolutely illegal to preach about politics, which is documented here, folks. So, I would encourage you, the listener, to join us, everyone that's here. I would encourage you to join us either in person or in spirit, right? By taking action to guarantee that this type of hateful rhetoric, thank you for your support, that this type of hateful rhetoric is not allowed to be propagated within our school systems and within our government systems. We should not be praying at the beginning of school board meetings. We should not be praying at the beginning of city council. I mean, unless you're inviting someone who's Islamic, Hindu, Jewish, right? Whatever. Unless you're inviting them to pray, we should not be offering Christian prayers in these settings. These are spaces, and our community is supposed to be a space where everyone belongs, everyone is loved, and everyone is supported as they are, with no judgment and no belief of demonic possession, right? So, if you'd like to join the efforts here in Olean, you can do a couple things. First of all, there will be a protest at the Olean City School District Board meeting this Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. We will be meeting in front of the Olean High School. If you would like to speak, it is critical, stick with me. It's critical that you call the superintendent secretary. Thank you for your support. Yo, so many old white people, what up? What up? I'd like to be on the agenda at the board meeting. And if you want to guarantee you can speak, you have to be on the agenda. So please call the superintendent secretary of the Olean School District and tell them that you want to be put on the agenda to speak. It is very important that you know that Marcy Richmond, the Director of Special Education for Olean City School District, who has previously publicly proclaimed that LGBTQ people are demon-possessed, Marcy Richmond is in fact on the agenda to speak this Tuesday. This is not Olean's first go-round with faculty who want to proselytize in the schools, with faculty who want to say that our gay children are demon-possessed. These faculty that have already committed these infractions face no repercussions from the school district, are still in their positions, and there is no policy to date to prevent this abuse of power from happening again. For the record, 3 years ago, I requested that a social media policy be made to protect our children from this forms of hate speech, from people that are supposed to be protecting them. You can go back and check the school district board meeting minutes. I was in there, I asked for these things, and it has not happened. Now here we are again. So, if you would like to participate, you can either show up Tuesday at 6 o'clock at the Olean High School. Please wear a white shirt if possible. Sharpie on there, no room for hate in our schools. I still have my shirt from the last protest. So feel free to show up. If you do not want to speak, that is absolutely okay. Your presence still matters. Presence sometimes is the biggest thing. So if you do want to speak, though, so as to guarantee that they can't shut you out, call the Olean City School District Secretary. I will put the phone number in the caption of this video once we're done going live. Also, if you would like to show your support, the students of Olean School District are badass. The students of Olean School District have organized a protest Wednesday after school. If you would like to show up as a parent, student, alumni, or community supporter, I would encourage you to do so, because our students are brave, our students are bold, and our students are giving me hope for the future. Let's show up for them, right? Let's show up for our students, and that'll be Wednesday after school. If you are involved or if you live in the Cuba Rushford area, I am unsure what is happening, but I know they are trying to get an organizational movement off the ground. Please contact the Church of Tolerance page on Facebook that posted the original viral video that got all this stuff going, right? These are your tasks for this week. If you cannot attend a protest and you would like to support otherwise, I would highly encourage you to Google the licensing agencies of all of these professionals, and I would encourage you to find the report a complaint or concern button on their website. Because if you're a psychologist, you absolutely take an oath to not say people are demon-possessed. I don't think that's like the real wording, right? But it's like maybe like between the lines there, right? Like we don't go around people preaching that people are demon-possessed if they have mental health issues. So I would encourage you to contact the licensing agencies and the state government agencies that sanction these individuals, right? Now, I'm pointing here, but we already know there's other folks, as stated. Marcy Richmond, Special Education Director. Hope she knows my name by now. Please contact the school board. There's a great chance they won't do anything, but that doesn't mean we don't show up, guys. Please contact the school board and request to speak. And if you don't want to speak, just show up. Show up with a sign, a shirt, a hug, anything like that. That's this Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Wednesday after school at 3:04, let's support our students by showing up at the middle school track, right? All the details are listed on the Church of Tolerance page on Facebook. If you have any questions, you can message me personally, but I got a cute wife and some fun kids, and I'm going to Pumpkinville in a little bit, so I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to stand out here for just a few more minutes because it seems like Olean, yeah, tree guy. Decker Tree Service supports the equality and affirmation of all people. They didn't even pay me to say that. They're just good people, so maybe hit up Decker. Good times. We're going to stand out here for a few more minutes. We're going to hang out and just proclaim the truth that is, if there is a God, God's love is non-binary. It excludes none, it oppresses none, and it is not exclusive to any group, no matter what they tell you. God's love is non-binary. You are valid as you are, and we're going to take a stand as a community that we cannot accept hate speech to be propagated from public officials. Thank you guys so much. Please share this video. Please like this video. Please comment on this video. I don't really care if you know me, but I do care that this message gets out because we need to make a move and we need to take a stand in rural America. And the way we do that is we harness the power of social media, because if you can't defeat it, you use it, right? Thank you guys so much. We're going to be out here for a few more minutes. I appreciate all of your support. There is so many of you on here. I should talk about controversial stuff more because you guys like to hear it, apparently.